Yeah, Gavin, so we'll end on our last article here. This is just an overview if we want to talk about Cyberpunk 2077. Did you watch some of the gameplay of that Nightwire event, and did you have some feelings on what they showed off?
It's weird. It feels like, to me, it feels like we didn't see that much information, but when journalists talk about it, they kind of brought up a lot.
Well, they got to play more, right? Because that was also tied with the whole they played like 4 hours, and that those impressions got to go live, and it seemed like overall positive too.
Yeah, I was definitely impressed by, I don't know why, who convinced them to do this, but there are 3 different origin stories that you can play based on your class, and why you would spend that much money on something that, how many people are going to play through this once and only see one? So there were 3 different stories, but that's really cool. That's right. Absolutely awesome that they're doing that. I really enjoyed the whole, I guess the part where there's outside of Night City and it's sort of a desert.
Yeah.
And that's apparently a whole thing.
I'm kind of blown away. I mean, my biggest hesitation was like the driving. I feel like because the game was so high resolution and so detailed, like with driving, it was going to make it hard for it to process what's going on. But it seems like that's not really, none of the playthroughs from the different game journalists mentioned that at all. I feel like it all ran really smooth, and so they're really confident with just expanding the world and letting you just do exactly what you want to do.
Yeah, absolutely. And I was told that the driving is sort of, they described it not quite as good as Grand Theft Auto, but it's pretty good. So
that's fine. I wouldn't expect it. I mean, as long as it doesn't like make the game chug, I think I'm okay with it.
Yeah. That'll be interesting. The gunplay sounds like the gunplay is pretty fun. I'd really love to know really how customizable you can go. That can I go an all melee route? I'd love to try it. I certainly tried that in Outer Wilds and had no fun. But or Outer Worlds. Outer Worlds? Yeah, Outer Worlds.
Outer Worlds, you're right.
But yeah, hopefully it's gorgeous too. That's the other thing. It is,
yeah, very gorgeous. I'm interested and scared to see like the whole PC requirements, because I think I do want to actually, if I can, I want to try this on PC and see the full extent of what it can do. And I guess I'll have to, but or wait to play it on next gen. But I want to see the best, visuals with this thing, because I think they're really pushing it to the limit. But yeah, I was impressed with, I guess the only thing that I didn't care for, and maybe it's different when you're playing it, but there's that mechanic where you can go in, and I guess they've done it in like the Dark Knight or the Batman games, where you can look at a situation or a scene and replay it and kind of in 360 walk around and do some like detective work and kind of figure out what happened in this like memory that you upload.
Brain dance.
The brain dance, yes.
Yeah.
What'd you think of that?
I hear it was fun. It looked unique. It sounds, I'm guessing from how much it gets brought up, I'm guessing that it's probably going to be a bigger chunk of the game than we think. But I'm also guessing it's not going to look as good on a stream or YouTube video as it is when you're actually playing it in front of you.
Sure.
So we'll kind of have to wait and see on that one. But it looks neat. Hopefully it's fun.
Yeah, I mean, this is one of my highly anticipated games, and this is the next one in line after Last of Us, maybe Ghosts of Tsushima. But other than that, it's like this is the next one to really just wait for. But yeah, I mean, I'm confident, or I feel more confident now that this has been in the hands of people playing it for multiple hours, and it seems like, I think I listened to GameSpot dissect and talk about their time. They were given free range to kind of do what they wanted to do. There wasn't really limitations on it. So this is a workable build. They're just apparently they're just bug testing right now. That's why they delayed it. So they're pretty confident where it's at now. And there's just so much hype of this game. You really have to nail it. And it seems like it's on track for them to nail it.
Yeah. I'll be curious to, when it's all said and done and this generation's, done and dusted, will this be considered the most ambitious game of this generation?
It's possible, because I think there's comparisons you could say with Red Dead 2. That one is more, they really wanted to flush out that world and make it super detailed and rich, and you had options. But I think this is a different route where this does have that same level of detail, but there's so many different things you can do and options to live in this world with rather when Red Dead, they just try to make everything so much more realistic and feel lived in, and this is doing that, but also giving you so much more options to play.
Yeah, absolutely. One thing they did point out is that while this, I think I believe this is kind of their words, is while this is the biggest game they've ever done, space wise, physical area wise, it is not. It's just there's a lot to this game, but yeah, also not space wise, which is again, as we discussed earlier, that's a good thing.
Yeah,
Um,
that's what I want to hear.
Certainly in that trailer, like there's a ton of like cutscenes and stuff you see in like the sizzle reel trailer, and they said that's just for the first chapter of the game. um Something they also mentioned that they're very proud of is they said there are absolutely no filler side missions in this game, or filler missions. This is all, we worked very hard on this and put a lot of effort. So
Mm,
that could feel, a lot of people said with The Witcher, some of these side missions are just as good, if not better, than the main story. So the fact that
right.
they're going to turn that up to 11 here is really, really cool. And I'm, yeah.
But I hope also, because I've heard the same thing with The Witcher, and I played like 5 minutes of it, like realistically like 3 or 4 hours. But there's just so much out there. There's so many options, and like as far as like side quests to go, if you can dwindle that to, yeah, just the core ones that really hit hard, the ones that are really worth your time, and if they take that kind of mantra over, where they have a lot of optional content, but it's all like curated, it's the best stuff that continues at least the experience forward, if not the story forward. But yeah, I'm hoping that they really dial that in, because a lot of the complaints or issues I've heard with The Witcher is there's just so much, and it fills up your map, and there's just so many different routes, and you kind of forget what you're doing, and it's just too much content, and it needs to be kind of like just dialed in a little bit.
Yeah. I mean, I was kind of, with the limited time I played The Witcher, I was impressed by the fact that I got to that point instantly. You start it up
That's
and
how I
it's
felt. Yeah.
all, uh,
Yep. just poops all over you. But
yeah. Like, I
um,
think the first thing, it like dumps you in this bar and it's like, you can talk to all of them. No, I'm already socially exhausted.
yeah.
This introvert needs a nap.
Yeah, I think it was also GameSpot, maybe another outlet. They talked about how they're just walking around the map, and they almost like favored not using the car and just like walking through the city, because there's so much going on. And if it's not like actual side quests, it's NPCs that are just like feeling like they live there, like they're having no interactions. There's like fight outs with the cops that'll just zoom by you. There's this whole like bustling nightlife that doesn't care whether you're there or not. I love that idea. Like, I want more of that in this style of gameplay, where it's just like the world doesn't give a shit about you. It's just living, and every NPC feels like they're going somewhere, they're doing something.
I really hope they commit to that, because that can lead to those stories where occasionally it'll be frustrating. But let's say you're just walking across the street and all of a sudden, like, you just get ran over by a criminal running from the cops and then get run over from that. Like, I'm sure sometimes that'll be infuriating and mad and maybe you lose some
Right.
progress. But those few times where you're just laughing your ass off because some emergent gameplay like that, I really, really hope they commit to that.
Or think of like Skyrim. They did that where you would be fighting a giant, and then a bear would come out of nowhere, just because that's his AI to like roam around, and they lock eyes and they fight. Like that kind of stuff, where you're on a mission and this gang happens to be there because they're just patrolling around, and then chaos ensues. Like stuff like that it just makes you feel like this is a real city.
Yeah. I think one thing, kind of watching some of the footage, it does look, I think graphics, especially during the day, I think they look a lot more doable. For some
Mm,
reason, like the city looks so ridiculously good looking at night. It doesn't look like anybody's computer will run this fucking thing. But you look at it the day and it's like, okay, that kind of looks like a video game, you know?
gotcha.
And that's kind of why I got to thinking about the skin thing is it still has that video gamey looking skin. And it doesn't seem to have that.
Like
So
plasticky kind of.
yeah, like yeah. So I think if they could have gotten rid of that, that would have made me a lot more happy. But there's just so much going on that they don't have the time. So if it was hardware accelerated, then everybody has the time. You can do it on every surface. Um, but yeah, so it's a looker. But I think it's in the realm of doability. I'm sure your computer, because your computer is way more powerful than both of your consoles. So I'm sure your computer can run this thing probably at a decent settings. Um, yeah. I still
Hope
need to
so.
look at that website you were telling me about that helps you pick out those parts. I'd be curious to see what I could upgrade my current computer to.
Yeah, that one was a lifesaver. It's a PCPartPicker.com, and you just plug in the stuff you got, and it all tells you what works, what doesn't. Even like physically, some graphics, like it has the sizes of graphics cards, so it will tell you, oh, this won't
Right.
fit in your case. This will bump into this thing. Yeah, really in depth.
Yeah, I think that's the thing. I'd have to do it over time.
Yeah, for sure.
But